good morning or good evening whenever you tune in to this live stream. Today I'm going to be speaking on the underworld and dream consciousness. Now I ask the tarot, the spirit, the universe, the logos, what is important in these times as we transition from the Capricorn season into Aquarius season. The cards that come up, I don't have to say the exact cards, but they both exist on the pillar of severity, if you understand the Kabbalistic terminology. If you do not, there are three poles or three pillars. I talk more about Kabbalah and Hebrew and all these things on the website, but just to catch you up to speed, you either have the pillar of severity or you have the pillar of mercy. Either you are giving out mercy or you are giving out judgment. In this particular case, when it comes to the underworld and dreams, these worlds exist in places that require severe justice. Let me give you an example of what I mean to bring this home. Dreams. We can either feel our dreams being something, or we just dream to process the information that we intake when we go through our daily activities. It's either just a function that the brain does when it's in REM sleep, or there is a possibility of something more. This is when we get into concepts like lucid dreaming and astral travel, so on and so forth. The purpose of doing any type of lucid dreaming or astral traveling is to take control, conscious control of an experience that will happen on its own. For example, life will happen whether we exist or not physically. So while we are here in the flesh and we are conscious of the fact that we are here in the flesh, we are able to manipulate these laws of the universe and bend them to our will. Something that's not possible if you are not in the flesh. Since we are consciousness occupying fleshly vessels, we can utilize the physical experience to gain memory so that we can evolve further beyond the physical plane, which is the whole purpose of climbing up the tree of life or going down the tree of death, depending on whether you find the trees are stacked on top of one another or they connect at the bottom of Malkuth. Again, this is just to introduce you to terms if you're not familiar. If you are, you know exactly what I'm speaking about. Dreams are not easy to understand and interpret. Why? Because there's so much that happens while we dream that it's impossible to remember every single detail without practice, because time is different. So the first thing we must understand is time is different, which is why you can have a dream that seems like it lasts longer than the physical time that actually passed. It could be 5 minutes of physical time, but 6 hours in dream time, because they are not moving or existing on the same clock. Time as we know it on a physical level becomes irrelevant when we start to build our consciousness on higher planes. The first thing that dissolves is time, which is why To become a mastermind, you are essentially mastering the element of time. You master the element of time by increasing your levels of consciousness so that you understand time on a multi-dimensional level. So anyone who is considered a genius or is able to do things that other people cannot with the same 24 hours, we start to understand the deeper meanings behind why people can simply do things that other people cannot, even though we technically, based on facts, have the same 24 hours available to us, but it is not the same once we enter into dream time. The more conscious you are of dream time and what is occurring while you are sleeping physically, you are essentially able to give yourself literally, let's see, if we was to add it up, imagine having an extra 3 to 6 months of time that you don't have physically. Physically, we have 12 months per year. If you learn and you train yourself to stay awake while you dream, you are giving yourself more time. And when you give yourself more time, your thinking speeds up. When you can think faster and quicker, now those same 24 hours, you can move faster than time with your thoughts. So you actually are giving yourself more time. These are the secrets of Saturn. So when we study astrology and we want to understand the purpose that Saturn serves, Saturn is the ultimate time keeper. We must be disciplined because Saturn teaches us harsh discipline. Not just discipline, but in a very, very harsh, cold fashion. Saturn gives us the hard lessons in life. So there's severity that's attached to Saturn. The next point we have to understand is the underworld. What do I mean? What does the underworld have to do with dreams? Once we understand that time can be manipulated in this fashion that I just described, applied to the underworld. So let me define what I mean by the underworld. Am I talking about the criminal underworld physically, or am I talking about the dream world? When we study astrology, the underworld is represented as the eighth house of Scorpio, because the eighth house of Scorpio represents wealth, but it also represents sex. The sex concept is not just fleshly sex as we know it. Biochemistry, chemistry, biology. It's not speaking about it strictly in those terms. The underworld or the undercurrent, I choose to say or call it the undercurrent of reality. So when we think about the energy of Scorpio, we're thinking about the undercurrent of reality. But you are doing this while you are conscious. The only difference between the underworld and the dream world is your state of mind. In one state, you're conscious. In another state, you're unconscious. Striving to become more conscious in that unconscious state. So when we ask ourselves, how are people able to do the amazing things they are able to accomplish in the underworld? Or on the flip side of that, how can somebody come from the nothingness? Nobody knows who they are, no money in their pocket, literally self-made. You come, penetrate into the world, and now everyone wants to know how you did it because you didn't have any support. You didn't have any mainstream access or backing. How are you able to make a mark on the world when you're coming through the back door, essentially. Because typically, when we think about all the hard work that's attached to making your own name, or in these times, make your own brand, marketing, advertising, when you have to literally, if you are not paying for ads, you have to work. Essentially, you have to advertise yourself, which is the purpose of why people create content. Either you're paying to get your content in front of more eyes, or you're just working harder than everyone else. So when we look at this platform or any platform, we see you either have people who are literally coming and working every single day. Then you have those who are more in the creative world who want to make more of a creative impact. So they're not necessarily working as often or as much, but when they do give that creative content, it makes a bigger impact. Nonetheless, it's not about which path is right or wrong. We manifest in two ways physically. You're either manifesting through labor, Saturn, or you're manifesting through creativity, Jupiter. In other words, you're either manifesting through your root chakra or you're manifesting through your sex chakra or your sacral chakra, which is connected to Jupiter. The root chakra is connected to Saturn. So this is how this all ties in. So going back to the underworld, whether we're talking about it physically or astrally, the same concept and the same dynamics apply. You are able to supersede what we call laws or the common thinking. You are able to unlock your own mind through Scorpio, because Scorpio just represents the occult, that which is hidden, as I said earlier, the undercurrent. How do you access this undercurrent that's already here? All a so-called criminal does is tap into a undercurrent that's already there and serve a purpose and a flow. It's like a river. The river is already there. The water is already flowing. So when somebody comes and sets up shop, utilizing the resources and the elements of the river, they're just simply plugging in to a current that's already generating energy. This is what we call the Akashic records or the collective unconscious. It's already going, whether you exist or not, is a current, it's active. If you are able to plug in, which is what the clairvoyant is, which is what the medium is, which is what the channeler is, anybody who was able to read the seer, whatever title you want to use, anyone who can interpret the mysteries, the astrologer, tarot reader, tea leaf reader, so on and so forth, the Kabbalist, all these attributes are just the ability to plug into this undercurrent that already exists. So when you do a tarot reading or an astrology reading or an alchemy reading, Kabbalistic reading, so on and so forth, all you're simply doing is connecting or plugging into a current that's already in motion. You're just simply interpreting it and decoding it because it is written in a symbolic language. It's not a language that can be understood utilizing the left brain. It's more right-brained. However, if you can bridge the gap between the left and the right so that they are not separate, then you get more out of this undercurrent or this underworld experience. So to be the Lord of the underworld is the same as saying the Lord of your dreams, to be the ruler or the creator of your own dreams. That same dynamic and concept applied physically allowed you to come through the back doors of reality and make an impact in ways that cannot be done if you came through the front door or if someone was co-signing you. Oh, this is someone you need to look at. Versus people cannot turn their eyes away from you because you're coming through the back It's completely unexpected, and people don't even understand what's going on when you're simply just tapping into the undercurrent. So, not going to make this too long. Just wanted to share that. Tap into the undercurrent. Be the creator of your dreams, not just a passive watcher of your dreams. Because the last point, memory. I say that for anyone who has ever spoken to me, you know that I say this. If I ask you to imagine something that you've never seen before, you cannot do it. If I say imagine something and you have no idea what it is, I say a word that you've never heard before, you're not going to be able to visualize it. So when it comes to visualizing your future, you see the tools that you utilize to visualize the future is based on your memory, what you already know. So you have to pull from your memory to even envision the future. There's two ways to expand your memory. You can either do it physically by educating yourself, going to school, anything Sagittarius related or knife house related. The second way to enhance or expand your memory is through your dreams. Because you can dream, you can have a dream or be dreaming and see something or be somewhere you've never physically been or see something you've never seen before. And you can remember what you've seen, and actually that becomes inspiration for a creative, painting or a piece of music, so on and so forth. The greatest artists pull from the collective unconscious or the dream world. That's how they expand their memory. That's what shamanism essentially is all about. So we have those two options. Again, it's not about which one is better or worse. This is just the ways we have access or available to us. So, with that message, be the ruler of not just your dreams, but also the physical underworld or undercurrent. Stay plugged in, stay tapped in. So be sure to check out the website, asharenew.com, if you're more interested in the Kabbalistic teachings and the Hebrew teachings. What does all this have to do with the tree of life and all that? That's more so for the website once again. So with that, peace.